Hello students, in this video I am going to continue the line by line explanation of the chapter The Enemy from your book Vistas. Till now we studied that Dr. Sadao operated that American and Hana was serving him food. It was her daily routine to serve food to that American, but let's see that what Dr. Sadao does. As far as Dr. Sadao is concerned about that American, every day he examined the wound carefully. Every day he checked the wound, that operated area actually, very carefully. The last stitches has been pulled out this morning, and the few days has passed after the operation. And the last stitches, you know that it's a kind of thread by which we attach the skin by sewing it. Okay, it's a medical process, so that is stitches. It is used on open wound spaces while operation is done. Stitches. So then last stitches has been pulled out. It will be cut by Dr. Sadao this morning, and the young man would in a fortnight, and in a fortnight means in a 15 days duration, the man will be today the last stitches will be taken off, and in just 15 days gap he will be nearly as well as ever. He will become completely well. Sadao went back to his office. On that day, Sadao went back to his office and carefully typed a letter to the chief of the police. And he typed a letter to the chief of the police, reporting the whole matter. And why he is typing the letter to chief of the police? He is writing a letter to typing a letter to chief of the police, because he wanted to inform all the matter that an American was swept ashore by his at his doorstep by the sea waves, and he treated, means he wanted to give the details of all the incident, and actually now he is in mood to hand him over to the police. On the 21st day of the February, an escaped prisoner, he started writing this. He is writing in the letter actually, that's why it's in double inverted commas. He wrote, on the 21st day of, means it is 21st February, an escaped prisoner that is an American, was washed up on the shore in the front of the house. And he further wrote that he was washed by the sea waves and he was left at his doorstep. He typed only these two lines in that letter: on the 21st day from here till of my house. So far he typed, and so far means he typed only these two lines, and then he opened a secret drawer, and then after typing these two lines he stopped typing his letter. Means he discarded the idea to inform the chief of the police immediately about this incident. And then he opened a secret drawer. Secret drawer means it's a kind of confidential, it's a kind of drawer in which, table drawer or almirah drawer, in which he would have been keeping his confidential documents of his desk, and put the unfinished report in it. And he put that unfinished because he reported only two lines, and then he put that report in that drawer. On the 7th day after that too, students, you have to focus on this part of chapter very carefully, because these two incidents which are going to take place on the 7th day after the operation are very important. On the 7th day after that, two things happen. On the 7th day after this incident, on the 21st day, there you can find that two incidents took place at Dr. Sadao's life. In the morning, the first incident, let's see the first incident. In the morning, the servants left altogether. In the morning, all the servants left their job, means two servants, a gardener, a cook, and Yumi, the third one. All the three servants left their job. Their belongings tied in large square cotton kerchiefs, and they tied all the belongings, with their things, their usable things, necessary things, which they used to keep with them while working at Dr. Sadao's home, in a large square cotton kerchiefs. Kerchiefs means a big size, you can say, because it's a large kerchief, so it's a big size pieces of cloth which were in a square shape, and they tied all the things in those cotton pieces. When Hannah got up in the morning, and nothing was done, and when Hannah got up in that morning, when the servants left, nothing was done, means no work was done, nothing was done in the kitchen, and nothing was done in the garden also. The house was not cleaned, and the food not prepared, that's why nothing was done. And she knew what it meant, and she knew very well that what is the meaning of these all the things. While she saw that the house was not cleaned and the food was not prepared, she was well aware that what happened She was dismayed and even terrified. She was dismayed means she became angry, become disappointed, and a kind of angriness, with a kind of anger actually, with a disappointment is called dismayed, and even terrified. But she became terrified also. Why terrified? Because if the servants, she knew that nothing was done, it means the servants had left their job, and if servants will left, they will not only leave actually, they may go to the police authorities or the army authorities, and they may inform that Dr. Sadao and Hannah had sheltered an American in their house. It was a danger. That's what she terrified. But her pride as a mistress, but her pride, her you can say that superiority as a mistress, because she was a mistress of all the servants, would not allow her to show it. She was it did not allow her to show her terror. Instead, she inclined her head gracefully, rather than being terrified and so display her fear. She inclined. You can say that lift her head in grace, in a gracious manner, in a superior manner, when they appeared before her in the kitchen, when all the servants came in the kitchen while she was working, and she paid off and thanked them. She paid them all whatever their remuneration was there, whatever the money salary was unpaid, and thanked those all the servants for they had done for her, means whatever they had done for them for in these years. They were crying, they all were weeping, but she did not cry. But she did not weep because she was mistress. The cook and the gardener had served Sadao since he was a little boy. The cook and the gardener, as far as cook and gardener is concerned, are concerned, they had served Sadao while he was a little boy in his father's house. Means they had served his father, Sadao's father also, and they were serving him also. And Yumi cried because of the children. Yumi was weeping because she took care of the children, and she became very close to the children. She was so grieving that after she had gone, she ran back to Hannah. She was so much sad that after she had gone up to some distance, she ran back to Hannah. And it is a statement of Yumi. If the baby misses me too much tonight, send for me. She told that if the baby misses, the small kid, she said particularly about that child. If the baby misses me too much at night, I'm going to, then you should send someone for me, I will come. And I'm going to my house, and you know where it is. And if you wish that someone should call you, so other must know your address also. That's why Yumi told her address to Hannah, that I'm going to my own house, and you know where it is. So Hannah would be knowing that where is the house of Yumi. Thank you, Hannah said smiling. Hannah said smilingly to Yumi that thank you. But she told herself, but she talked to herself, means she thought she would not send for Yumi, however the baby cried. Means she thought that even the baby cried, she will not send anyone to call her. She made the breakfast, and Sadao helped with her with the children. Now because servants left, now she is making the breakfast, and Sadao is helping with the children. Sadao is taking care of children. Neither of them spoke of servants beyond the fact that they were gone. And none of them, neither Hannah nor Sadao spoke anything about the servants, that why they left. Only they discussed that they had gone. But after Hannah had taken morning food to the prisoner, but when Hannah took that morning food to the prisoner, means that American, she came back to Sadao. She returned to Sadao. Why is it we? Now Hannah is quite, you can say, quite angry also, and she is quite resolved also that today we have to take some decision. Actually, we can't we can't continue further in that manner. Why is it we cannot see clearly what we ought to do? Now she's asking, she's asking her husband Sadao, that why we cannot do clearly, as we are, means we need to do that, we should hand him over to the police. Why we are not doing that? Even the servants see more clearly than we do, and even the servants can see more clearly that if we are going to shelter this man for any more time in our house, it will be very dangerous for us. Why are we different from other Japanese, and why we are different from the other Japanese people? Means why you are not showing that activity, that gesture which a common Japanese should show. Sadao did not answer, but Sadao did not reply. But a little later he went into the room where the prisoner was, and said brusquely. Sadao did not speak anything to Hannah, but after a little while he went to the prisoner room, and he asked him brusquely, means very rudely actually, today you may get on your feet. He told that today you have to get on your feet, because he was not walking actually, he was still unhealthy. I want you to stay up only 5 minutes at a time. I want that you should stay only for 5 minutes at a time. Tomorrow you may try twice as long, and tomorrow you may try twice. Means tomorrow you will have to try it for 10 minutes. It would be well that you get back your strength as quickly as possible. And he further told that it will be better for you. It will be better for you to get well back as soon as it is possible, man, and you should gather your strength, uh, because now Sadao is in mood to do some take some decision. He saw the flicker of terror on the young face that was still very pale. Okay, the boy murmured. The boy murmured that American soldier murmured. He spoke in a low voice, low tone. Uh, okay, he told, okay. But Sadao could notice that as he told him rudely, a flicker of terror, a kind of indication, a symbol of terror on his face, means the boy terrified, that was still very yellowish color, looking very weak and thin. Even evidently, he was determined to say more. Actually, uh, that American was wanted to say more rather than okay, and he told, I feel I ought to thank you. And he further told that I think that I should thank you, doctor, for having saved my life, because you saved my life. Don't thank me too early, Sadao said coldly. Sadao again said coldly, means angrily actually. Don't think that he spoke quietly. No, angrily. He told, don't thank me too early. It is too early to thank me, man. He saw the flicker of terror again in the boy's face. Again, he noticed that on the boy's face there was again a terror symbol, a sign of terror. Terror as unmistakable as an animal's, and he was as terrified as an innocent animal. Just while that innocent animal is chased by some deadly animal, and the animal wants to kill that man, that bird or animal. That kind of terror appeared on his face. The scars on his neck were crimson, and he received a scar also in that escaping process, that American. And that scar became crimson, absolutely reddish color for that moment. Those scars. And if you would have normal time, Sada would have asked, those scars? What kind of scars are those? But what are they? What are they? He would have asked. Sadao did, but Sadao did not ask this time. He was very angry on this man. In the afternoon, so this was the first incident that the servants left Sadao's home. Understood that two things happened. First thing happened that Sadao's servants left home on that day, and the second thing happened on the same day. In the afternoon, so it happened in the servants left in the morning, and in the afternoon time the second thing happened. Hannah working hard on unaccustomed labor. Hannah was working very hard on unaccustomed, which she was not practiced, which was not saturated actually. What unaccustomed? Because household activities, domestic works she had never done. She had never done cooking, whatever thing. So that was she was working. Saw a messenger came to the door in official uniform. She saw that a messenger came to the door in official uniform. He was looking in uniform. Her hands went weak and she could not draw her breath. Her hands, which were working at that time, while she saw the messenger in uniform, police uniform, then her hands started almost, you can say, trembling, and she could not breathe properly. Means she terrified to see that man. The servants must have told already. It means she thought that the servants went directly to the police and they told actually about this incident, that we have sheltered an American in our house. She ran to Sadao. She ran straight away to Sadao, gasping. She was breathing fast, unable to utter a word. She was taking such a fast, means she was even panting. She was panting that she was not able to speak a word. But even before that, she could speak even a single word to Sadao about that messenger. The messenger arrived there, reached there. Messenger had simply followed her through the garden. Messenger also followed her through the garden, and there he stood, and now he is standing just beside Hannah. She pointed at him helplessly. She indicated to us that messenger. Sadao looked up from his book. Sadao was reading a book at that time. When he looked up from his book, he just looked his eyesight. He was in his office at that time. He was in his office, the other partition of which was thrown open to the garden for the southern sunshine. The other partition actually means in this office of Dr. Sadao, there was there may be at least two partition means windows. There might have been at least two windows, because the other window partition is mentioned here. The other window, one window was in some other direction, but the other window was in a direction in which that was opening towards the garden, and for that the southern sun means when the sun is traveling towards southern direction, that sun ray can enter into the office. What is it? He asked the messenger. Now Dr. Sadao asked the messenger that what is this? Means you are in uniform, and then he rose and he stood up. Seeing the man, he saw the man in uniform, and then he asked, what is it? Means why have you come? You are to come to the palace, the man said. Now the man said that to Dr. Sadao that you have to come to the palace. Palace is a place where the old general in a pain again, means because Dr. Sadao, if you know very well, in the beginning of the story I had discussed to you that Sadao was not sent to the war zone because it is Second World War actually. He was kept in Japan because to take care of an old retired army general, because this army general had served the nation Japan for such a long time, and he served the most. That's why the best surgeon was employed by the government to take care of this general, and this general has heart problem. So the old general messenger informed Sadao that the general is in pain again, means general is having pain in his chest. Oh, Hana breathed. Now Hana said, oh, that only. Is that all? Means is that all actually? Means you came. Now Hana was quite satisfied. Her fear left her, because she thought that he has come to arrest Dr. Sadao. But this is not the matter. He has only come to call for the duty which was appointed in Japan. And then messenger told, all means what do you mean by all? Is it not serious? The messenger exclaimed. Messenger surprised and said, all means what do you mean that it is not sufficient reason? Is it enough? Is it not enough? The messenger told, is it not enough reason that I should come to call Dr. Sadao? Indeed it is. Now she said, yes, it is. She replied, I am very sorry that I said only all. When Sadao came to say goodbye, came to say goodbye to Hana, she was in the kitchen but doing nothing. She was in the kitchen but she was doing nothing, and she was just passing time. The children were asleep, and she sat merrily resting for a moment. The children were sleeping and she was sitting just for having rest, more exhausted from her fright than from her work. She was sitting to take rest, but rest was not required because she was so much tired physically. She was not tired physically, she was tired mentally. I thought they had come to arrest you, she said. Now Hana said, while Dr. Sadao went to say her goodbye, bid her goodbye, she told that I thought that they had come to arrest you. Means actually not one messenger, perhaps more than one messenger were there. She thought that she told Dr. Sadao that I thought that they had come to arrest you. He gazed down into her anxious eyes. Dr. Sadao looked very carefully into the stressed eyes of Hana. Means she was looking very much stressed because of this American. I must get rid of this man for your sake, he said in distress. Dr. Sadao said in disappointment that I must get rid of this man for your sake. Somehow I must get rid of him. And then Dr. Sadao promised to himself that anyhow I will try to manage to get this man, get rid of him.